Big revelation on the horizon at Stamford Bridge. From the Roman Abramovich long-awaited interview and explosive new book to the latest on Chelsea transfer strategy, goalkeeper shake-up, Enzo Maresca long-term project, there's a lot to unpack. Let's dive into it. But before we get into all that, first of all, welcome back to the channel. This is Papi Knows Football. Let's like this video. 100 likes on this video will go a very long way into telling the algorithm they are doing something right here. And if you have not subscribed, or this is your first time see my video, I want you to hit the subscribe button and get me to 2,000 subscribers before the end of the season. We start with a major publishing news that is set to set ripples across the football world. Roman Abramovich, the enigmatic Russian billionaire and former Chelsea owner, is finally set to break his silence in a development that is sure to reignite debates and intrigue fans among journalists, political observation alike. Abramovich will speak publicly for the first time in over 4 years, and is doing so through the pages of a brand new book titled Sanctioned, the inside story of the sale of Chelsea. The book is penned by a respected journalist, Nick Powell, and scheduled to be released this summer under the Bite Back Publishing. For the first time, we are promised an insider look into the 95 days sale of Chelsea Football Club, a transaction unlike any other in football history. The deal, which unfolded under the intense UK scrutiny and global media attention, followed Abramovich being sanctioned in March 2022 over alleged tie in the wake of Russian invasion of Ukraine. Abramovich was forced to relinquish the control of the club he owned since 2003, a club he transformed from Premier League contender to European giants, winning 21 trophies during his tenure, including 2 Champions League titles. The sale process, managed by Rain Group, was unprecedented in both scale and pressure. Over 250 parties reportedly expressed interest in acquiring Chelsea. What followed was a dramatic high-stake race involving billionaires, consortium, political maneuvering, all unfolding under the eyes of the British government and global football community. Eventually, American businessman Todd Bowley and Clearlake Capital emerged victorious, securing the club for a record of $4.2 billion. But according to the book, the real story is yet to be told until now. In Sanctioned, readers are expected an exclusive access to previous unheard details, private correspondence, direct quotes from Abramovich himself. The book is aimed to peel back the layers of secrecy, controlled PR, to reveal the chaos, the pressure, and the behind-the-scenes power struggle that define the sale. With its release expected this summer, Sanctioned is already touted as one of the most important football books of the decade, not just for Chelsea fans, but for anyone interested in politics, sports, and global finance collided in the corridor of football powers. It's a rare moment when a figure as private as Abramovich chooses to step into the spotlight. With so much still unsolved in the mind of fans and stakeholders, Sanctioned could become a vital piece of modern football history. We are all keeping eyes on its release. Now let's bring it back to the present. Chelsea season under Enzo Maresca is drawing scrutiny, and not necessarily for failure. According to Simon Johnson of The Athletic, next season Champions League qualification won't be all and end all when it comes to judging Maresca's debut season. The club's hierarchy, led by directors Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley, is placing equal, if not greater, weight on the long-term vision being in place. And that tells you everything, that this isn't just about short-term results. It's about laying foundation for something sustainable, something that lasts. That thinking was clear last June when Chelsea handed Maresca a 5-year contract, a bold, possible, risky show of faith compared to the Mauricio Pochettino deal a year earlier, 2 years deal with an option of third, a safe bet, and a trial run. But this is different. It's not about pressing and positional play. It's about identity, a club searching for coherence after years of flux post-Abramovich chaos, scattergun recruitment and management roulette. And now look, I'll be honest, a part of me is encouraged by the patience, by the idea of giving manager time to build, to implement a vision for once. We are not demanding miracle overnight. But another part of me is cautious, because I've heard of the World Project more times than we have actually progressed. And in the Premier League, good intention don't always survive bad ones. So yeah, this news hits me both ways. I want to believe in Maresca. I want to believe in the blueprint. But believe, like football, needs results. It needs buy-in from the board, from the fans, and the players wearing the shirts. Because a blueprint means nothing if the bricks keeps crumbling. Here, as much as the club talks about strategy, structure, sustainability, I can't help but feel uneasy. Yes, Winstanley and Stewart has a long-term plan. Yes, they have laid out a blueprint. But what is a good blueprint if the house already looks shaky? We have spent over $1 billion on transfer, yet we are still asking basic questions. Who is our best striker? What is our strongest centre-back pairing? What's our identity on the pitch? If these two are the architect, then sorry, some of these falls at their feet. It's hard to buy into the idea of stability when the squad feels like a puzzle with missing pieces. Harder still when we have recycled through managers, like it's a game of musical chair. And now we are putting all our faith in a coach who has never managed at this level before. And look, I'm not calling for chaos, I'm not calling for sackings, but I'm calling for accountability. Because right now, the people making the decisions are asking fans to trust a process that hasn't earned that trust yet. They are asking to be patient while the club we love drifts further from what it used to stand for: competitiveness, clarity, and confidence. So no, I'm not entirely sold. I'm watching and I'm hoping, but I'm also questioning, and I think it's fair. Moving on, the truth is neither Jørgensen or Robert Sanchez has convinced. Both were brought in with high hope of becoming long-term solution, but so far performance has ranged from inconsistent to outright underwhelming. Jørgensen, despite his potential, has struggled to impose himself, especially in high-pressure moments. Sanchez, while more experienced, has raised too many doubts with his decision-making and ball handling. For a club trying to build a possession system under Enzo Maresca, that simply won't cut it. And while Petrovic is set to return from loan spell at Strasbourg this summer, it's still unclear whether the club sees him as a genuine number one or just solid depth. He showed glimpses last season, but this decision requires more than glimpses. It needs certainty. That's why this summer becomes so crucial. Chelsea recruitment team led by Paul Winstanley and Ron Stewart will have to decide. Do they stick with what they have and risk another year of uncertainty, or go back into the market for a proper commanding presence between the six? The Club World Cup in June is more than just another fixture. It's a stage where reputation are made or broken. Chelsea needs a goalkeeper they can trust, one who commands the area, starts attack, keeps clean sheet, not just a shot stopper but a tone setter. And if the current options aren't cutting it, then it's time to be ruthless, because ambition can't afford sentiment. Of course, the striking position remains Chelsea's top priority, perhaps ahead of the Club World Cup in June. Names currently admired by Chelsea scouting team include Delap of Ipswich, Benjamin Sesko from Leipzig, Hugo Ekitike from Frankfurt, Sporting CP Viktor Gyökeres. Delap, now in Premier League with Ipswich, has impressed with his physicality, hold-up play, and growing tactical awareness. He's not the finished product, but his progression has caught the eye, especially for a club looking to invest in potentials that fit in a long system. Sesko, meanwhile, is already operating at a high level in Bundesliga. Tall, quick, clinical. Chelsea have tracked him for years, and his blend of size and explosiveness makes him a natural target. But RB Leipzig won't sell for cheap. There will be competition. Then there is Hugo Ekitike, a player whose reputation has quietly been rebuilt. Since moving to Frankfurt from PSG, he scored 8 goals and 6 assists this season. Frankfurt has slapped an €80 million price tag on him, in part due to the $20 million sell-on clause owed to PSG. That valuation, especially his market value, sits closer to $55 million, but it signals how much Frankfurt believe in his upside. For Chelsea, it could be a calculated risk, betting on a high-ceiling talent who is finally finding consistency. And finally, Viktor Gyökeres, the superstar name. The stats speaks for himself: goals, assists, leadership, physicality, but his $100 million release clause remains a massive obstacle. Sporting has shown little to no intention of negotiating unless it's met in full. Ultimately, the striker Chelsea signed this summer must be more than a statement. There must be the solution. The club cannot afford to misfire up front. With the Club World Cup on the horizon and Champions League qualification a minimum expectation, the need for a clinical, system-compatible number 9 is urgent. Because if this team is going to evolve under Enzo Maresca, they will need someone to finish all the promising build-up plays, someone who can carry the weight of the Stamford Bridge week in, week out. That's the video there. I hope you enjoy it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Good.